What is up, guys? Welcome to Wedding Film School Live. My name is Jason. I'm joined here right now by Jared. How you doing, Jared Haskell?
I'm doing good, man. Hanging out on a Thursday afternoon, feeling good. Yeah, how about yourself?
I'm actually pretty exhausted. For those that don't know, my wife is pregnant, and if you have a pregnant wife sleeping in the same bed as you, that means you are waking up multiple times a night, probably. So that's happening in my life. It's a wonderful experience, and I'm incredibly blessed to be having a child, but I am tired.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That part was tough for sure. I was supposed to go to the gym this morning. Usually my mother-in-law watches our kid, so my wife and I can go to the gym, but my wife's mom is in Italy right now.
Wonderful.
And so that means I have to wake up like really, really early to go to the gym. And this morning I was like, there's no way. I'm not going to wake up early.
We should just do a live podcast episode right now, Jared. We could just do that.
A live podcast? I know.
I always thought that would be fun to do sometime. Maybe we should do that on the channel from time to time, on the other channel.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. But anyway, so I'm actually really well rested because I sacrificed the gym for you guys today, so I'd actually have energy and not be dead.
Nice. Okay, so if you don't know what we do here on Wedding Film School Live, we don't just talk about our wives and families, although we like to do that. We talk
this is
about
a relationship live. We tricked you guys.
Ha ha ha. Anyone have any marital problems? Put them in the chat.
Yeah.
No, ours is what we're going to be doing today is reviewing films live, and these are viewer submitted films. And in general, like, here's our goal: we want to help people make better films, level up their filmmaking by and storytelling, and just ultimately, hopefully, make a little more money. All the things that go with making a better film. But in general, the goal is help them where they're at. Right? We're not just trying to give them feedback on what a perfect film is or what the film we would make would be, but it's the film that we think that what are the steps they could take to go to that next level. 1 or 2 tips. So basically, this is how it goes, and we have a round of what each of us liked about the film, things we think that the filmmaker did well, things that we think the film succeeded at. And then we're going to do a round of things that we think could either be improved at, and maybe even some questions. Because, Jared, sometimes with this stuff, it's not quite as, whoa, what happened there? It's not quite as straightforward as like it's good or bad. Sometimes we have questions, right? Sometimes we're watching something like, well, what did you think about that? And so, like, in general, we're not the experts necessarily. We're here to just help.
Yeah. The thing about wedding films that, I don't think it gets mentioned enough is all this is really subjective, right? It's like, what do most people think when they watch a wedding film? What is very saleable when you're doing certain things? What irks us? And we've seen a lot, but this is definitely coming from the perspective of like 2 filmmakers, myself and Jay, who've had a lot of experience, but I definitely want to say we're the be-all, end-all. There's certain styles, and there are certain rules, I think, to wedding filmmaking, but then also, there's certain ways that you can break those rules. So I think really we're just giving our advice, and we're definitely going to ask questions because, you might make certain decisions because things didn't go the right way on the wedding day, and that was totally out of your control. So there's a bunch of different things to consider and think about when creating these wedding films. But, the whole idea is, like Kyle said in the comment section, level up and get the perspective of peers and, get better, elevate the industry. So,
yes. It's one of those things that we enjoy doing, so that's why we do it. Believe it or not, this doesn't make us a lot of money to be doing live film critiques, seeing as we don't monetize these videos because there's lots of licensed stuff. We do it because we genuinely want to make a difference and want to help people make better films. And we believe wedding filmmaking is a great career. We want you to have it. We want you to make the best films you possibly can. So, Jared, why don't you do the thing where you tell us about the films we're going to be reviewing? Give us who's the filmmaker. Maybe let's drop that link to their website in the chat, and then we're going to be also giving little details on what the filmmaker went through. They'll provide some details to us and maybe some gear stuff. We'll see what it differs depending on the filmmaker.
Sure. So this week, we actually, if you haven't been paying attention, we had a yard sale at our studio. And we sold a lot of gear that, we just don't have a lot of use for. But we were also able to meet a lot of people in studio, which is really cool. And our filmmaker that we're going to, be reviewing first, Brandon Moy, came by, and we were actually able to meet him, say hi, you know, talk shop, and yeah, just kind of hang out. So excited to be reviewing his film today. It's kind of in our neck of the woods up here in New England. It's going to be in Rhode Island. But as far as deliverables for this film, he gave them a teaser, highlight film, as well as main events. I guess is what he's calling kind of like, the ceremony toes dances.
It was cool to meet Brandon for real, by the way, Jared. That was fun.
Yeah, it's always fun, you know, meeting people, whether it's in our studio or we're out in Vegas or at Vision Quest, just, you know, our buds that we know from, you know, doing wedding film school. Meeting them in person is always really fun, and especially, you know, grabbing a beer, hanging out at events is the best. Makes the community all worth it at the end of the day. So, in terms of gear Brandon used, he's saying, an FX3 from Sony, A7S3s as well, 2 camera operators throughout the day. He said it was really cloudy and foggy outside. Tried to lean into the couple style for music and editing style. Wasn't too much flexibility with romantics. I'm assuming that's more like portraits, is what he's talking about.
Everyone has a different name for that, but romantics, that's what Bobby calls it too.
Romantics, interesting. Intimates, maybe. So the teaser felt fine, but the full film will be interesting to piece together. So I'm excited to watch this film. I saw little clips, but yeah, excited because seeing someone else's take on, you know, an area that we, you know, shoot a lot is always really fun. And yeah, I'm excited to watch this film, dude.
Yeah, I should probably actually get the film up on the screen. That would be good.
Yeah, should I tap dance a little bit?
Oh, no. It's I just have
Here,
to press.
I'm going to share Brandon's website so you guys can check out more of his work here. Brandon is a really cool dude. Yeah, and, you know, as far as events go, the rest of the year, we've always been talking about doing some wedding film speakeasies. We usually do that in Vegas over at WPPI. Obviously not going to WPPI this year. We weren't able to do that, and I really miss it, man. I think we'd like to do something else. We've always talked about doing maybe a New York wedding film speakeasy, maybe be doing a Nashville
Maybe just do a Boston one and see who comes. I mean, honestly,
that'd be fun.
I've always wanted to also just literally just do a workshop for a day and see who comes. Like, I don't care if I'm charging $50 for it. I just want to see who comes. We got an auditorium. We're actually about to drop a studio tour of our studio, and we get to show everybody the whole thing, and I'm really excited about it. So maybe we'll end up doing some cool events. But I'm ready to go whenever you're ready to go. So here's the full film from our buddy.
Like
Brandon.
that cover image. Brandon.
And he's a member, by the way, guys. So if you want to we're changing one thing, and I don't even know if I told you this, but we're going to be really not only giving priority, but reviewing the full film for members in 2 minutes of a film for non-members. Going for not today, but starting in May. So if you want to make sure your full film gets reviewed, unless we decide otherwise, because we just feel like it, full film gets reviewed, I would say click on that little join button. Right now, it's like the only way to support the channel. So even if you're like, don't really want it, it means a lot to us. If you just want to support us with $5 a month, it's just as easy as clicking that join button and becoming a member, and you get a cool red badge in chat, which is great. So here's the full film from B-Boy.
Stream me to your arms, won't you? Leave me fitted to the truth. Afford me just a spark in my entire heart to be together.
When I'm with you, laying on the couch and hearing you laugh and just living our regular lives, I think to myself, I must have done something right to have this beautiful life with you.
To be together. To be together.
You make me so happy. let's get married.
Put your hands together for Justin and Taylor.
I told you very, very early in our journey that I was going to marry you. I only want to do this thing called life with you, the love of my life. I love you now and forever.
Good emotion. All right, so that's a little teaser there. Whoa, it's about to play about 1 million videos. All right, so Jared saw that film, taking some notes. I'm noticing.
Yeah.
What did you love about it, like about it, think Brandon did well?
Well, the first thing I think with any wedding film is like you want to feel a connection to the couple, and I feel like I did. I felt like these people are really awesome.
Yeah,
I
wish they hired us.
Really like each other
because they're nice.
I like them. You can just tell there's a genuineness between each other, and that also they really like each other too. And honestly, you might think it's like pretty clear, like pretty easy. Like, oh, if you have a good subject, it's easy to do that. It's not always easy to do that. Like, it's your job to like find ways to, not only capture them connecting, but also show off their personality a little bit. And I think Brendan did that really well in the edit. Found good sound bites that made it seem very intimate. And so that's kind of the thing that stands out first and foremost. I think cinematography is pretty good. I know a lot of those spots very well, and I thought his choices were good. Sounded like he was
funny about
limited.
when you guys see that island, by the way, there's I think literally 4 venues on that little island.
Yeah, Goat Island.
Goat Island.
Yeah, so that's initially kind of my thoughts right out of the box. Good composition. I also, this is like me as someone who runs, a couple teams and critiques our shooters. I can tell Brendan shoots the events really well. It's not just like about the portrait sessions or romantics, as some might consider them, but he also shoots the events really well, and his coverage is really good. Having your 70 to 200 on either side, capturing people's facial reactions during something like the ceremony, during something like the toast. Composition is really good, and the photographer is not going to get in the way. That matters to me. Like, I know it's fundamentals, it's your basics, but that's a big deal. Like, as a working wedding videographer, that newbies I think have a really hard time doing is like finding your angles. So I think his base coverage is going to be really good right out of the box.
Yeah. Obviously Brandon's a very good shooter. Like when we say coverage, right? We mean like, did he get shots that were available? Did he get the available shots, right? And it seems like a given, but it's not a given. Like there's a shot in here where they're walking and they're looking over each other's shoulders. And this one right here, right? It's like, hey, she's looking at him, he's looking at her. That's a really smart shot. It's also not something you see that often, I just think the shooting throughout the film is really solid. And, I have mixed feelings on the song personally. But I do get a sense that they probably loved it.
So, yeah. I agree. And it's definitely something I wanted to bring up too.
And so it's one of those things where and he had a few of those eye candy shots too. It's like every once in a while, you see a wedding and you're like, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing that good about it.
Yep.
And I would say there's a couple really solid shots. And especially when you're my opinion is when you're doing a teaser, if you don't have a few bangers in there, you're in trouble. Right.
Yeah. So
I think succeeded in that. And of course I totally agree with you. The most important thing, this couple was very well represented. Given they are who they are, right? Very, very nice. And you could just tell the love was there. And I am curious right here in this shot, it's not a criticism, Brandon, but I'm assuming this is mist, right? That you mentioned, was this fog, over near in Newport, or is this was this really bright? But it looks like mist. But anyway, that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, that shot specifically, I'm going to assume it's mist because if he's shooting on those Sonys, the dynamic range wouldn't blow
Well,
up.
and you can see the way that the
see the
bridge in the
on
back is
right-hand
like
side.
disappearing.
Yeah, it seemed like a weird day that was definitely affected by weather, and I wonder if he was limited on the romantics because there might have been weird weather concerns.
It's weird about the mist.
I feel like I shot the same exact wedding, different couple
in
last year as well. It was
In
just
Newport?
a weird weather day over there.
Yeah. What month was
always
it?
a weird one.
Brandon.
Probably. Oh yeah. For me, it was probably like June
Yeah.
last year when I was shooting very similar weather conditions. So yeah.
Anyway, great, solid film. So let's talk about things we think he could improve on. Maybe not improve, but just think that maybe would level up this film, especially considering it's a teaser.
Yeah, being a teaser. I'm kind of with you a little bit on the music, but it's less of a criticism and more of like I think you're limited on options, just generally when it comes to like picking music that matches people's personal style. Like, if you're going for something that feels a little bit more like, I don't know. Like,
well, listen to this,
the
Jared.
music that is
Listen,
listen on R&B, right? Like,
well,
it's
listen to
limited
this
on,
intro. Like when this is what it's not so much this. It's maybe the parts of the song that are used. Like when the video started, I was like, whoa, we're starting right, like right here.
Yeah.
Streaming to your arms.
I
just don't like the way the guy, like, that's just me. Like it just kind of comes in and like, anyway, moving on.
I think the song, like when it comes to a teaser, I think we're a little bit back and forth on like, what is a teaser meant to be? Is it meant to be like just a short version that you're giving to a couple quickly, within a certain amount of time and it holds them over until the rest of your deliverables are delivered? Or should it be something that's kind of like a more traditional like movie teaser where it's like, oh, I want to watch the rest of it, and you're still showing some like glimpses of your bangers, but also you're not giving away too much of like what the film is going to be. So is it like, hey, super high energy, and then maybe in the longer film you're drawing it out, you're making it a little bit more romantic? Like, I don't know. I don't necessarily even think it has to be like one way or another every single time, but just kind of thinking about like what generally a teaser is, what the music is used for that. I'm not sure if I would have chosen this song for it, but again, I know how limited the music bed is because I think there's a music bed song, right? I think it says in that treatment that he sent us, but yeah, I would say that's probably where you are and just picking the right song for the couple, but also just limited on options at the end of the day. So yeah.
So my opinion is, the only thing I would say is I feel like it's a little too long for a teaser. I personally don't like a teaser that's much more than, I don't really think it should be more than 59 seconds. That's just me. But
How long was it?
It was a minute and a half.
Minute and a half. Yeah.
It's too long for me.
Yep.
It does. I think like when I'm looking at like, there's something that's hard for me to explain about the film, which is like, I felt like I was in like, this is the challenge with this venue. Belmare is the name of this venue. And in venues like this, when you're basically in the same place all day, is you have to work really hard to give your film like a sense of progress. And then the weather was flat all day too. So the one thing I would say is like, there wasn't enough dance floor or parts, like there wasn't enough difference in the film. It was like the same look almost all day, and I was having a hard time like really placing myself. And I think I would have liked to see I'm looking at this dance floor stuff and I'm like, this stuff looks good, right?
Yeah.
And I would have liked to see more of it. I would have liked to see like more of that energy in the film. So I personally, hey, Axer, we're just not experts, by the way. It's not that we wouldn't be willing to review a baptism, but we just don't know what would make a good baptism film. So that's why we won't review it. But we're happy to, when you get a wedding film, please submit it. Crop Studio. How about you stick around, Cropped, and if we have time, I will do it. Anyway, good film though. That was my one critique. I would have liked it to be a little shorter. The song just felt a little weird. Like it just kind of had like, you know what I would have say, Brandon? I probably would have started it when the song picked up with the more like positive vibe, because it has like this really like kind of sad beginning, and then it picks up and it has like the energy and like a more positive vibes. That's just me. So yeah, I liked it. It's good. I'm not crazy about the color personally, Jared.
Yeah, that like super, bright and airy kind of look.
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat preference. He didn't make tons of mistakes, so it's not a mistake. Yeah. It's just my personal preference. I feel like, but listen, like, we make fun of this venue, not because it's bad. Like, it's a good venue and it's solid weddings, but it's like the same challenge when we shoot it, which is everything like looks the same all day. This is tough. It's nice, but it can be tough to shoot because you just.
I would say I never make fun of this venue. Because just in case the coordinator is watching
our show.
I love this venue. It's the best venue ever.
I like it. It's a great venue, but I think it does produce storytelling challenges. Like, you have to work extra hard to give your film a sense of motion, because it just has this stuff. So it is what it is. Anyone who shoots at like places with lots and lots of weddings where they're really good at just pumping them out probably has the same challenge. So yep, it's good. Anyone who wants to submit a video, thank you guys for submitting, or thank you, Brendan, for submitting. Anyone who wants to submit a video, I pinned it at the top of the chat. It's also in the description. Just click on the link and you can submit a film. So, you know.
I wanted to mention, if we're moving on, Jay.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Written in Film mentioned that your webcam looks like an FX6 and mine looks like the T3i, which is funny because I literally was bitching about it to Jason beforehand, and he was like, no one ever complains about it. But I'm coming from my house, and Jay is in the studio and actually
doing the stream,
doing the stream and broadcast.
It's just funny, like, you think we would own a T3i, dude?
Yeah.
Why would we buy a T3i?
I promise mine looks great. It looks great. I put a lot of work into it, and Jay's like, you just look so overexposed. I'm like, my levels are literally perfect, and now they're actually really low. But because I'm going through Zoom to Jason, he's pulling the stream from Zoom, so blame Zoom's compression. It sucks.
And I'm actually on a Blackmagic 6K, and Jared's on some Fuji camera. So
yeah,
here's the deal. We do website critiques, and we're gonna do one really quick, Jared. How about we do that?
That sounds good to me.
All right. So whose site are we gonna be critiquing?
So we're gonna be critiquing Daniel from Daniel K Films. Daniel is a wedding filmmaker, I believe, from Dallas, Texas. And yeah, I'm excited to do this. It's been a while since I've done a website critique, so this is gonna be fun.
I love website critiques. I
think it's like, we know what we're doing when it comes to like filming. I would say most wedding filmmakers have a pretty good sense of what they're doing, but the thing that none of us are good at is creating websites, right?
Yeah, we're okay. We own a web design company.
Well, I would say we're okay because we have a full-time web developer, and he's made us okay, and we have, kind of a cheat code in that. But when you're kind of creating your own, it's like, where do you even start with this stuff?
It's really important. I so much emphasis is put on so many, even SEO things, that I'm like, just eye test your website, right? That's the most important thing. If you look at someone's website. So let's look at Daniel K Films. So,
and I'm just going to mention too, we're going to look at it on desktop and stream it, but I'm also looking at it through the mobile as well. So I'll give a little bit of critique.
And I might even I might do one of these deals and kind of see how is it responsive. And guess what? It's not responsive. Okay, so let's talk about the site. First and foremost, on desktop, first impressions, clean, nice little moving slider right here, motion background, mostly really solid shots, a couple questionable ones. Jared, what do you think about this little reel up here?
So it actually, the moving slider up top is different on mine, what I'm looking at.
Well, it's a really long video.
Oh, now it's different. Now that I actually switch things around, now I'm seeing your slide.
You could just look in Zoom at what I'm broadcasting to you.
Hang on, you switched something, and I'm hearing double audio now. Hang on one second.
I switched nothing.
All right. So I would say the top is good. Jay, can you actually crush it a little bit more? Make the website a little bit smaller, because it did something weird for me when I.
Well, that's what I was
doing
saying.
that.
It's not mobile responsive. I already did that.
Right. I would say the top is okay. I would prefer to have all of it, like the home and.
But what do you think about the little reel?
fire.
What do you think about his reel right up there?
The reel is good. I like seeing video as soon as I land on a video page. I want to see what you do almost immediately. I think it's very saleable.
Well, Jared is big on what you put in that video. And here's my opinion about this video is it's a little too long. A little too long. I don't think I would say 30 seconds, minute at the most is what you want on this little thing. Because I noticed.
Really? Why would you say that?
A bunch of things. First of all, it's easier. Second of all, you can only have your bangers. And third of all, and most.
What do you mean it's easier?
It's easier to make a shorter film than a longer one. You just put your best clips instead of like. But the biggest reason and the technical reason is load times. Is like a couple times I put this up, it didn't load the video, and I know it's because it's a very long video.
Okay.
So I would say keep that in mind, guys, when you're making websites, that you really want load times. And if someone goes to your site, right, watch this. It's white. A couple times it didn't move. It was having a little issues. I would say maybe shorten it a little just to make sure it plays right away when people land, and it's not just a white screen or not just a frozen thing. So that's my feedback. I like the clips you included, by the way. Except for this one.
I think the clips are, except for the dad, the vertical dad shot, I wouldn't include that. I'm very particular about what would be in this. I would only want it to be bangers. So I wouldn't include the dad there. There's a couple shots in here that I would probably get rid of.
Overall, though, I think it's really nice. I think if a couple saw this, they would be like, but this is what I would start with, this shot.
Yep.
This, so, all his best stuff I feel like is halfway through the film.
Yeah. Front load all your best stuff. And then, I do like the fact that you have a Hindu wedding in there. It shows that you've done a broad range of work in the past, which I think is important. As soon as someone lands, you want to show some diversity if you can. And if you've shot those types of weddings, just because a website is all about communicating a lot of ideas to a lot of different people as fast as possible, right? That's the whole.
You're selling
idea.
yourself.
So you're selling yourself, and kind of what you've done. You want to put your client or your prospect client, in just be in their shoes for a second. And so if someone's doing a Hindu wedding, you want to immediately land and be like, oh yeah, they've done that before. So I think this site does a decent job, of showing that right off the bat.
All right, so I'm going to scroll down a little, and we'll get quick now. So favorite films, I don't like this at all. I don't like saying favorite films. I don't like the display.
So I don't like favorite films. I would just make that recent films potentially.
Or artwork, or I just personally think a portfolio directly below instead of to me, this should be under the slider, and then you show your work.
Separating some of your videos with a little bit of text and a little bit of personality, a little bit of branding, would create a stronger brand. But I do like the fact that it's very video heavy up front, because we're videographers. People are going to want to see your work quickly. So I would say a little bit of separation would be good, but I like the amount of content that you're throwing at someone right away. I think it's good.
Yep. This is weird. Don't know what this is. Don't know why.
Yeah, I would get rid of that.
Doesn't
or make it smaller. Make it more of a banner.
No, I could just get rid of it. Or maybe use it as something, but I would get a better shot.
Different image, because the idea is again, you create a little bit of separation between your main kind of blocks, I would make more of a banner. I would get rid of that image.
Yeah, a banner,
specifically.
because what you're trying to tell someone, all you're trying to communicate is, this is a new section. Do you want to see this new
Yeah.
section? And
Scroll
the section
down.
you're
The whole point, the whole reason he used that photo was because there's a hot air balloon in it. And frankly, I don't care about a hot air balloon.
don't care
It's
about
just,
hot air balloon.
You know, it's cool in real life, but on a website, it doesn't really convey much except here's a hot air balloon. And
Well-
you know, you're on the internet. There's plenty of photos of hot air balloons.
Well, there's no message that communicates that down here is our inquiry form. Now, luckily, he has it up here.
Yep.
Now, we'll look at this page, work.
Smart.
You know, I don't like more films. He needs some copy up here. This just
Yeah.
needs a little more. Like, it's fine. I wouldn't say this is terrible, but I would say, you know, if you go check out, like, Larev, a website like that, I would encourage you. I would even say, like, I'm pretty proud of our Huxley.film website. I think the way it like organizes the internal pages is really nice, and I personally think for SEO reasons it should be like Sarah and Buddy location, Julia and Sam location or venue. Like I would like to see a little bit very as minimal as possible, but like minimal information as possible instead of just more films.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
but I mean, I like that he has a lot of films, by the way. I'm not crazy about the fact, Jared, that it doesn't indicate what packages there are at all or what types of films there are. So it's
Yeah.
not going to help him sell that well because it like, are these all the same length? Are they all different? Like, I think like people, I don't know. We use it on our website, I think effectively of like on Stop Go Love saying like we make these types of films and we use our films to show the client what they can buy.
Right. So this is what I would say when I hop on a phone call with somebody. They are pretty much ready to buy. By the time I hop on a phone call with them, they are like, they know what we do because they've seen it on our website. And then we also send them a couple emails like immediately upon, you know, filling out our contact page. They're getting the brochure. So we're like selling people probably like 2 or 3 times before they even get on a console.
Yeah, you want your website to do that for you, right?
Right. So I would say immediately another thing that I would add to the website is a frequently asked question section. Also, I would like to see your packages and maybe you're all a la carte. I think immediately telling people, and you don't necessarily have to put pricing on there.
Or
by the
even
way.
packages, but you at least need to say, here are the things I make.
Right. This is what we do. These are what these films are. You know, if you're really just trying to make like 5 to 6 minute films, that's fine. Talk to people a little bit about what your highlight films are. You know, this is what most people want in 2023. They're super versatile. You can watch them on your phone. Like, you know, sell people on what they're actually looking at through words and through, maybe packages, because that's going to condition people to be like, oh, that's what I'm interested in. Like, oh, I actually having a teaser film that's a little bit shorter would be kind of interesting. And then show people the work on the website.
Well,
about
Chris
what a
brought up
teaser film
an
actually
important
looks like.
technical point, Jared,
Yeah.
which is the need to put alt text on your images, which is basically like this was good right here, by the way. I like this. Except it's way too far down. There's like way too much space. Like you can't have
What's alt text?
alt text is when you have an image and you write like Newberry wedding. So when you hover over it, so on the homepage, when you hover over his images, it just says like screenshot something, 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 you know? So I was looking at like, you know, and it doesn't have alt text on it. So it won't help his SEO as well. And it doesn't look professional. So you don't want that.
Yep.
Please close, you thing. Anyway, so yeah, let's look at about. This is an important page. Daniel K. Films is worth a shot. Don't like that tagline. It is cute, but it's like, no, dude, you're a baller. Like, bring some confidence. I don't like. But in terms of the spacing, Jared, this is not like everything is too below the fold. Like there's nothing that indicates that will be additional text. Like if someone's looking at it like this, right? Like nothing is changing. It's not mobily responsive. This page is kind of a mess.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be mobily responsive a little bit more. I like the image. I think the image is good.
Great image.
Not a fan of the tagline like you. I think, and when you're creating a website, like you really want to be thinking about like how you're being conveyed, which I'm sure, Daniel was thinking about. But are you looking to become a luxury filmmaker? Is that how you want to be seen? Or are you looking to be kind of more like hokey and fun and like that's your personality? I feel like, he seems like a really nice guy based on what the film is, but I don't have an idea
cool
of like
boots.
what kind of work that he's trying to, create. So I would say a lot of times when you're talking about like the luxury market, which I feel like most wedding filmmakers are trying to like move into, that field and just be able to charge more money, right? That's not a tagline that screams luxury to me. And so I would consider, something different. Maybe not necessarily say the word luxury, but show it off. Like this image is actually, I think, a cool, luxurious image. It makes you seem,
This
cool,
is
casual.
by the way, screen, blah, blah, blah. That's your alt text when I'm hovering over it.
Oh, right.
It should say like Daniel K. portrait or something like that. That's what Google will index that. So here's what I'm going to say. This page, here's what I don't like about it. It says a close up. Daniel K. Films is worth a shot. No, you weren't just dreaming. What does that mean? And then couple spend all this time, blah, blah, blah. And then, so there's no, like, you don't even have a, like, about Daniel K. There's no, it's just a bunch of seemingly unconnected words. With a giant photo. So I would say this page needs to be much more cohesive. And if anything, I would say, if you don't know how to do that, I would say connect with the designer and have them show you. Like, my opinion is the second you hit a page, Jared, you should be able to see the core content of the page. Right on first view at the very top of the page. You shouldn't put your core content below the fold, which means making you have to scroll to see it. You can have content below the fold, but you even got to tease the content below the fold. You have to have like a little peeker up above, like, oh, there's more stuff down here. And of course, like I keep saying, not mobily responsive, so that makes it even worse. And the other thing about it being not mobily responsive is what happens up here to your menu, which you're noticing like that menu is compressing. Or it's like overlapping itself. That's weird. You need to get that fixed. And then inquire. So we're stoked. We want to reach out to us.
So before you move on there, Jay, one more comment on this. Daniel, like if you, kind of the next step for you in your website, I would say reach out to a copywriter. I'm definitely not a great writer. I think I can convey certain things. But if you work with a copywriter, and they're not too expensive, you have to spend a little bit of money on them. But I think it'd be worth it for you to just get your language right. Where you can talk about like, hey, this is kind of how I want to be conveyed. Is it a luxurious wedding filmmaker? Am I the cool, collected videographer? Like whatever it might be, they can put, your vibe into word form in a way that you probably couldn't, that I certainly can't with our brand. So definitely something worth looking into and spending a little bit of money on, because just little things like that, like Daniel K is worth a shot. They would tell you, that really doesn't do anything for people, looking at it. So I would say, look into that. It's not that expensive.
Yeah, definitely worth it. I think in general, like his brand messaging needs to be tighter. It's kind of vacillating between like this high luxury look, but then this very informal way of communicating, which is okay. But I think they don't feel cohesive. But I like this page. I don't like reach out. I don't like that as laying. I just think that like his work is really nice. He should elevate all his language. Throughout the page. So but that being said, I don't think the site is like costing him tons of money. I think it's a solid, good website. I think his films are really good, and I think honestly he should get a little bit of design help and a little bit of copy help, because I think he's better than this website shows. And I think that's if you're like, it's just a website. People like social. It's like, yeah, people like social, but they make purchases on websites.
Yes.
So that's that. So let's talk about our next film.
Buddy made a good point too, is use Chat GPT for copy, which you could try, definitely.
I've tried it. I have a lot of mixed feelings on it.
There are hits and miss with Chat GPT, I feel like.
I've used it for some things, but it's not great for everything.
Yep.
Anyway, what do we got next?
All right, so next up we have another film. This is from Trenton Foster from Film Life. I'm going to post his a link to his website. They do really, really nice work, and I really actually like their website. We're talking about websites. You should check out their website. Good branding as well. But anyways, the film that we're going to review today, they said it was shot on a Sony FX3 and A7S III.
Allegedly.
So yeah, it seems like it's going to be a trend for today. I think everything was shot on FX3s today. So maybe Sony, you should sponsor us every once in a while.
Or respond to my emails.
Yeah, very chill day. The couple did a Zoom civil ceremony the year before, which we included in the wedding footage for storytelling. So still dealing with COVID weddings, obviously. But we're going to watch this. This is a 4 to 6 minute highlight. They also delivered a teaser film, drone footage, a full-length documentary film, and a video playbook, which is, I'm assuming, is that like the motion books? I don't know what that is. I would assume it's a motion book.
If you're in chat, tell us what that is.
Yeah. $8,000 total. So you're telling me $8,000 total. You guys are based in California. That's going to be
so it's like a tank of gas.
Good wedding. What is it?
A tank of gas.
Yeah, seriously. But I have high expectations for this film. Being $8,000, even if you're in California, I'm sure that these people are pretty decent. Excited to watch the film.
All right, let's do it. Hopefully I start at the beginning.
Good text.
It's that yellow text.
Everything about our life together. No dream or goal seems too far-fetched. We make incredible memories, and we have the amazing support system of family and friends. When our two worlds combine, they come together so seamlessly. It's almost as if it's meant to be. I've been dreaming of you and loving you my entire life, and I promise to continue to love you for the rest of my life.
This is good handheld footage. Super, super good cuts. Good font. I like that font. Nice R on that font. What the? Oh, that's them. I was like, oh no!
We are gathered here.
I thought that was me.
For the purpose of uniting in marriage, Jessica and Drew. If you both keep these vows, your home will be happy.
Oh man, that guy did it with the gold.
Now that you have joined
background,
yourselves in
Jared.
solemn matrimony, may you strive all of your lives to meet this commitment with the same love and devotion that you both now possess.
By the way, isn't it weird how there's like a cultural awareness of the backgrounds in Zoom now?
How so? How do you
It's just
describe
like
that?
it's just like that's part of our visual language now is like backgrounds that people do in Zoom meetings. Like you go to a meeting and like you know, somebody would be sitting in front of like a palm tree and you wouldn't say anything. You're just like, oh, look, they have the palm tree background. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going. Anyway, it's funny that it made it to the film, though. It makes it more like this is the moment, right? And I think he was referencing where the wedding was supposed to be, which is kind of a nice little storytelling like thing. Anyway, cool.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Let's keep going. That's nice, clean. Wow, this house is dope.
Jessica, I can vividly remember the night we started speaking. Waiting for your reply was thrilling, and I was filled with excitement. I wanted to get to know you more and more, and we did for the next
Buddy,
8
who's
days,
Matt?
spending every second we could together. Over the next 2 years, we had built an incredible foundation by getting to know each other, building our trust, and supporting each other. I'm excited today is our day. The day you have been dreaming about since you were a little girl.
I remember coming home from our first date. You walked me to the door of my sorority house, did not kiss me, and I felt like I was floating the rest of the evening. I walked over to the window to watch you drive off, and I got all giddy. I couldn't wait to tell all the girls about our first date. Loving you is and has been so easy. It's that easy kind of love.
what's that
got
game?
us
That
through
game
our
looks
first
fun.
chapter, and will get us through the rest.
Jessica, over the years, I saw as you learned to better understand yourself and what you wanted out of a partner. And I'm so happy you found what you wanted in Drew. A kind, ambitious, and thoughtful individual. I've seen the love shared between you two and all the special milestones you've gone so far together as a couple. And I'm excited to see what is to come.
Oh my God. Jay, you look absolutely beautiful. Wow. I love your dress so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. You look amazing. Holy cow. You're stunning.
Jessica and Drew, I love you guys so much. Enjoy this moment and enjoy the rest of your lives together. Cheers to Jessica and Drew.
The most remarkable moment in life is when you meet the person who completes you, the person who gives your life purpose, the person with whom you share a bond so special it transcends all other relationships and becomes something so pure and so wonderful that you can't imagine spending another day of your life with anybody else.
Yeah, it's cheating. California light.
Drew, since I was a little girl, I've always wanted to find someone to love. I wanted to marry someone who loved me deeply, build a loving home, and start a family. But I wasn't willing to settle for just anyone. I needed to find the one. And now that I found you, I want you to know. Although I have loved you for as long as I've known you, I have loved you for longer.
Over these last 5 years, we had made memories, experiences in the world together, both through good times and bad. They've been filled with vacations, stories, laughs, worries, and deep conversations. Above all, we have each other, always pushing, cheering, and supporting our love for one another.
We are in a unique situation where we have already had a glimpse into how our marriage is going to be before we share our vows with the world. And as we know, it's a pretty amazing life. But through the different apartments, changes in our careers, losses of loved ones, the global pandemic, and everything else life threw at us, we found home. And loving you is still so easy.
It is my honor and delight to declare you married. You may seal this declaration with a kiss.
Nice drum. I like to call that drum roll cuts.
That's interesting. Their logo reminds me of Still Motions.
Hopefully. That's one of the all-time... honestly, everyone should know Still Motion. If you don't know Still Motion, they're the reason you have a job right now. pretty much.
I really like that film, Jay.
That was really solid.
Really
I'm
good.
trying to think of bad things to say about it. So,
clearly they know what they're doing when it comes to filming. I'm really impressed by how much portrait work they were able to do. It seemed like they probably took them out for like 3 sessions. It seemed like they were working with them for a couple years, maybe.
Well, really, because I didn't see a different outfit. They were wearing I thought she was in her wedding dress the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they could have just had a really laid back day with a lot of time.
That's
built
different
in.
though. Isn't that a different dress?
I'm not sure. Regardless, I
Maybe
agree
not.
with you. Lots of portrait
You know what?
sections.
No.
and it was
She
nice.
just took out the veil later on, I believe.
Yeah.
Same dress. You're right, but I mean, it just felt different. Like it felt like the locations were different, but maybe it was just the fact that the sun went down a little bit more. Like you have that nice, like creamy light at the end of the night. There's the rolling hills again. It's like totally cheating at the end of the night. Sorry, my kid just came in.
That's nice.
But yeah, I felt like it was like the storytelling was excellent. I did think it was funny that because I was like, oh no, did my Zoom run out of time?
I was really like, dang, I thought this was going to be a smooth one today.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, their use of storytelling was really good. The found footage was really good. I maybe felt like it was maybe a little bit long. But I don't know. I'm a wedding filmmaker who watches a lot of films, so I probably think most films are a little bit long because we watch too many of them. I love the way they blocked out a lot of their shots in the edit too, where they were. I thought it was good composition, good use of textures, like everything. I probably don't have a lot to complain about. But what about you?
I thought it was great. I think the color is really solid. You know, it's kind of got like, I wouldn't say it's light and airy, but it is definitely on the, bright side. And I think that matches the day. I think that actually a lot of that light actually sucked. The dances and all that stuff. And they really actually made the most of it. They didn't like, They made the right exposure choices. There was like literally no white balance problems. I didn't see any color issues, like the things that you would typically when someone's inexperienced. So as an experienced filmmaker, I would say the way that they included stuff like this. I was a fan of the cell phone stuff, Jared. I was a fan of the Zoom. I think it all, even, this wedding stuff right here. And I like that they put that early. I hate when people wait like 80% through the film to show me the sick detail shots. Like, it doesn't need to be chronological. Just like give it content when the film wants the content based on the song. And I think that they did a great job with the music. And then the other thing I'll say is I'm a fan of handheld footage and I like shaky handheld footage, but it has to be well composed. It has to look intentional and feel good. Like it has to you could tell they were doing like run ups, like trying to make it match the energy of the couple. And I think that's the secret to like really good handheld footage is like, are you matching what's on screen? Like, are you just shooting handheld and people are, it has to feel intentional. And this was really intentional. And also, I think the edits were really good. There was a lot of really tight cuts. I was a fan of
overlays,
the window pane effects that they used. Some of them I actually didn't like, and we'll talk about that. But most of them I thought were really, really great. So awesome job. And of course, great portrait work.
Yep.
So
great. So in terms of, critiques, it's interesting because I would probably say, even though I liked the idea of the handheld footage, I thought the composition of the handheld footage was good. I thought the handheld footage had a little bit too much shake for my preference.
I think if you were watching it without the stream, you would feel
without the lag. Yeah,
you would feel better.
Potentially. Because on my end, I thought it was a little bit too. There's a little bit too much action on it, I would say. But the thing that I liked about every single one of his shots, there wasn't a single locked down shot for the entire film. Even in your lockdown shots from the ceremony or whatever, there was post zoom. So the motion and the just.
Well, Jared, how do you feel about this right here? Coming up, they're walking down the aisle. What the handheld? Where is it? Come on.
Yeah.
The one that they're
I
walking,
thought that stuff was really
that
good.
handheld
like the
stuff
wedding
walking down the
back
aisle.
Down the aisle.
Because I
Yeah.
haven't seen a lot of people cover that handheld, and I was like, because I hate those shots. That is like some of the most boring shots in the world to me. People walking down the aisle afterwards, and I was like, oh wow, they found a way to like make it interesting to me. And I felt
Really?
like
I think that's like one of the most interesting. Like it's
the
like
couple
the
walking
most
down the aisle
raw
is
moment
great
throughout the day.
The couple I love. All their
Right,
friends.
the couple.
All their friends. No. Show me the couple and let me get out of that scene. And they
Right,
found a way to make it more interesting. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Like I felt like that throughout the film. But anyway, that was just my opinion on handheld.
You know what's interesting is and this will kind of transition into your window pane potential critique that you may have. But I thought their use of composition is excellent. Like that one shot that you just played with the overlay of their silhouette, and then there's another shot with the sun directly behind. Like that is super intentional and thought out.
I love that shot.
You know, that's what I would say. And then also when they're doing the window pane stuff, that's kind of hard to do. Like I think the previous film, Brendan used a window pane.
He only used one
or
though.
two of his shots, and it was just like one window pane over an overall shot, and it just felt like it wasn't very balanced. I love that the drone shots at the beginning, the window panes of the drone. That
I want to
was
steal
really well
this.
done, really thought out.
I like that
awesome.
nice
I
clean
thought they
black
used it really well.
line. This is really nice, but I don't like those window panes that just pop up over ones. I just think everyone's doing them, and I'm bored of them. But
sure,
that's just me.
I think it's less to the critique of like it was done, and more of it's just hey, it's a trend at this point that everyone's
This is
doing
incredible.
and really what you hate
Right here. No, I don't like the balance of it visually. It always feels unbalanced to me. This feels. Look at the colors, Jared. You got the blue, green, blue, brown, and like it's just looking. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I don't like the like one that pops up in the middle. That's just me. But anyway,
sure. I also thought their B-roll shots were really good.
We're supposed to be saying mean things, Jared. We're supposed to be critiquing.
I know. Just watching it through again, there's so many. It's just they did it really well, and I mean, in California, they could probably charge more than $8,000.
Well, so
like,
what could they
the
do to
amount that
level
they're
up
shooting.
then, Jared?
What was that?
What could they do to charge to level up? That's the question.
You know, if they wanted to do higher end weddings, I think they would have to get rid of a lot of their like documentary type work, them playing, games in the living room kind of thing. Like, I don't see a lot of that in super high end luxury weddings, but that might be a big part of like what they want to be doing, and the couples they want to be working with are just like cool people. Like this couple is really cool. It seems like they're just nice to be around. They really like each other. They have a good story. When you start charging a lot more money, I think you're going to see a lot less of that, and they're less interested in having a real authentic like moments, like playing board games in the living room. Like, so I think it's a choice that they would have to make, but just understand if you get into higher end luxury weddings, it's like
They're definitely not going to do 7 portrait sessions with you.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to spend as much time with you doing that kind of stuff. I don't know. They might be in a pretty sweet spot for charging a lot of money.
Well, it's like level up money or
maybe
level
it's
up
not a lot of money,
storytelling,
but-
right? And so I look at it and go, I don't like that window pane. That's just me. I don't think it's a major problem. I wouldn't say that would help you level up or not level up. That's just a personal thing. My only thing was, what would this film look like at 5.5 minutes instead of 7?
Sure.
Sure. Because you're making the person watching this film, like, now given 7-minute films sell, right? So I'm not saying you shouldn't make a 7-minute film, but I'm wondering, like, what can this filmmaker do with 5 minutes instead of 7? Could they tell as compelling of a story in less time?
Right.
Maybe they don't want to. Maybe they do. That would be my only question with the whole thing. And then, I actually think the dance footage is uneven. In terms of like, some of it is really cool and some of it is not that great looking, like that. But that's just a very small critique. 1 or 2, 3 shots out of all the shots. It's very, very tiny. And I also know how things go at these weddings. So there's not much negative to say. This is a great film.
Carlos said he wishes there was an additional song.
Nah, not me.
Yeah. But yeah, really good work. I think everyone loves it. John Feldschow, I hope I'm saying the name. Welcome to the Wedding Film School elite member status.
Yeah.
He just joined. Buddy, they charge $8,000 for this wedding film, and they're in California. So,
and I think it's worth it.
I think it's definitely worth it. I think they could probably maybe charge that or more.
I've charged $8,000 for worse films.
Yeah, overall, really, really good. They're obviously in a really good spot. Again, check out their website. Their website's really good. You can see.
Well, I wanted to say one thing about raising prices, Jared, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, it's great. Get yours, people. But the thing I'll say is that price right there for that film in California lets you make that film. You start going up in price, and you might not be able to make that film. You might have a planner breathing down your neck. You're going to have a totally different situation. So I always tell people, like, hey, when you go up in price, make sure you aren't going to hate the films you make. Make sure it's not going to throttle your creativity. Like me and Jared, we don't care. We'll shoot a $20,000 film, show up, not talk to the couple at all. We're happy with that. We like all the other stuff too, but like a lot of filmmakers aren't happy with that. They really, really, really don't feel connected to couples, and I think like what I love about this is like it's a great example of like I think these guys are pushing the limit of their price, but they're making exactly what they want. And that's why I wouldn't tell just, oh yeah, you should go, this is worth 12 grand. Go like, yeah, well, if you charge 12 grand, the couple might not be willing to do this with you. And the film might be very different. You might get different couples. And I think this is a great example of like, they're pushing the limit. And I think that's great. And like, yeah, everybody should be, I think that's a great film to look at for people in terms of, that's like a normal wedding.
Yep.
You know, like
that's so just understand. Written in Film just mentioned they raised prices to over $5,000, and now they're the most expensive in their area. Like, it's just the challenge of like as you get better, raising prices and evolving over time. Like
you got to justify that price every time.
Yeah, well, and it's like it's just a part of the evolution of everyone's business. It's like now we don't work a lot of the venues that we used to work, and I used to love a lot of the venues. A lot of the people used to work. You just kind of like outgrow. And your work changes over time. And sometimes you have to make that decision to just do what's right for you and your family and what's right for your business to become more sustainable. These are just some of the sacrifices maybe that you have to make. And honestly, the thing that I think a lot of filmmakers don't want to hear is like, hey, sometimes you have to sacrifice even the work that you're doing to make it more luxurious, to be able to charge more. And maybe you're not able to just be the carefree videographer. You have to be a little bit more buttoned up and, but
or shoot a lot more weddings.
Yep.
Or
do more or whatever. Yep.
But by the way, I don't want to, we're talking very casually about $8,000. $8,000 is a ton of money for a wedding film. That is, nobody should be thinking like, that's normal. I should be doing that. That is that's a coastal price and very, very top of the market price, 1% price. Like, Don't just think that's a normal price. That's this level of work in this kind of market.
And I would also say like we're judging these films based on really price. We're not just saying like this is good film, this is bad film. We're trying to meet people where they are and be like, based on what you're spending, this is kind of where you are. A film like this, I don't really see a lot to critique about it.
No, it's like maybe things I would do different. That's all I can really say.
Totally.
I will say this. What's interesting, Jared, is like this. If this was $20K, I would feel a lot differently about it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I would expect a lot more creativity and a lot more. And so I maybe would say that to the filmmaker, like, hey, listen, I don't know if that's interesting to you, but like I would want it to be a little just elevated throughout the film, like at that price point.
This couple reminds me of, do you remember the Cana family when we first started?
Yeah, I love, I mean, they're still, they still make work, don't they? They're awesome. We should have them on the podcast.
I don't think they do weddings.
Dang it.
But they only do commercial work, potentially. They might even be broken up. But it's I would say this film that we just watched is a very California-style wedding film. Exactly what people are looking for, on the West Coast. So very, very good job. So let's move on because I think we've sung their praises enough. We don't want them to get too.
Don't have a big head.
Inflated ego.
You're not invited on our podcast, just so you know, to put you in your place.
Yeah.
Maybe you will.
The next film that we're gonna watch is from Stephen Yang of S.J. Yang Production, not Productions, Production.
Maybe it's Productions. We don't know. They wrote Production.
He's only done one wedding film ever, so it's just S.J. Production.
Is this really their first wedding film?
No.
Oh.
But yeah, let's see. S.J. Yang Production. Gonna share their website. He said this wedding was shot with the FX3, FX30. The day went smoothly on time, so that's rare, but good. The client purchased a 3 to 4 minute video with no dialogue, music video style, which is interesting. We actually, Jason and I started a brand that just delivered music video style films, and we're actually moving away from it because I feel like people are looking for that less and less now in 2023. But I'm excited to watch this film. I'm going to share their website. Jay, anything you want to mention before we dive in?
I like those trees.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to say.
Good.
I just really feel strongly. Those are great trees.
Yeah, I'm just jealous because we don't have them here.
Yeah, I think what they could do better is not be broken right there. I would give them that critique. It's a little broken part.
Totally.
But I think they're doing a lot well. Beautiful trees. So here we go.
Yep.
I wonder if that's real. Those little particulates or plants or bugs.
It's floating down the stairs. You're fixing up your hair like you do. I know that I'll be a man.
Taking henny shots at the wedding, Jared.
I've fallen victim to some henny shots.
Nothing new. It's always on a night like tonight.
There's nothing wrong with this shot. And we do this. We've probably done this shot. But think about how unnatural and weird it is that we make brides do this right here. Touch your dress.
But walk up to the dress.
Just like rub your hand on this. Caress your dress. It was nice looking, but
yeah.
I'm often struck by the absurdity of our job from time to time. So,
well, we try to make it look like a perfume commercial, right? And it's like, when you think about what a perfume commercial is, it's just friggin' weird.
Yeah, it's like, look at this dress and like, it's so amazing to you. And then rub it. Rub this dress.
It's always on a night like tonight. I thank God you can read my mind. 'Cause when you look at me with those eyes, I'm speechless. Staring at you, standing there in that dress. What it's doing to me ain't a secret. 'Cause watching you is all that I can do. And I'm speechless.
Huh?
Oh, damn. Oh, wow.
Did you ever watch The Room?
Yes.
I want a groom I want a groom to turn around sometime and go, "Oh, hi, Mark." I did not. I did. Oh, hi, Mark. Bride could do it too. That would be actually funnier if the bride's name was or the groom's name was Mark and she turned around. Oh, hi, Mark.
And I've been in a daze ever since the day that we met. You took the breath out of my lungs, can't even fight it. And all of the words out of my mouth without even trying. And I'm speechless, staring at you standing there in that dress. What it's doing to me ain't a secret.
That's a really weird bokeh. I like it though. I don't really know what happened there.
After all this time, I'm just as nervous. Every time you walk into the room, I'm speechless.
That's some sick tone right there, Jared.
Always on a night like tonight. I thank God you can read my mind. 'Cause when you look at me with those eyes, I'm speechless. Standing there
Bathroom signer or whatever.
Girl, it ain't a secret. 'Cause watching you is
No. No.
I'm speechless. You already know that you're my weakness. After all this time, I'm
People are alcoholics, Jared.
every time you walk
Nonsense.
into the room, I'm speechless. You already know that you're my weakness. After all this
I think it's Post Malone. You're right.
every time you walk into the room,
What this song is supposed to belong?
That's what Kyle said, and I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it was sick to edit a wedding to a Post Malone song.
Don, you're right. You win.
One time I edited a wedding where Dan and Shay was the wedding band.
Nah.
Yeah. and the Chainsmokers.
Oh, you edited it too.
Yeah,
Okay,
I didn't shoot
gotcha,
it.
gotcha.
No.
It does sound like Rascal Flatts, though, buddy. You're totally right.
I mean, Dan and
That's
Shay
the one I
sound
was
like
looking for.
Rascal Flatts, so. Okay, Jared, let's talk about that film because I feel like there's a
Man.
lot this filmmaker can do to grow, but they also have a they have a great base. So,
Yep.
I think we can help.
Yep. Yeah, overall, I think your footage looks really good. I think that you're leaning into, a certain style that's definitely yours. I think your color is very consistent, and that was
Really?
what I would say. Like,
I thought it was shifting all throughout the day. That was one of my critiques.
Going from like a shot like that last shot, for instance, like going from your outdoor shot to your inside with the dress, like that's going from like different parts of the day, like totally different lighting. So that's going to be different no matter what, I feel like.
I'm going to find some, but anyway, I basically agree that I like their color. I would agree.
Yes, their color's good. I think their composition is pretty fair. I think that their use of their stabilizer was pretty good when they were using it. So as far as like a filmmaker and a cinematographer, I think super solid base, super solid shots. You showed off, all the parts. Your coverage was really good. Everything was on time, like you mentioned. So you were able to get all of your shots and not feel rushed. It didn't feel rushed at all. Just a super solid base to start with. And I thought the edits were pretty fair as far as the storytelling. I mean, this is a thing with music video style is it really just caps what you can actually do with the film at the end of the day. So I know I'm not supposed to dive into like criticism,
Jared never can
but I
stay
would say
in his
for a
lane.
music video style film, I think it was pretty fair right off the bat.
So great portrait session work.
Yep.
Really excellent there. Even the lighting during a lot of these things and a lot of these genuine moments were like what the moments that were included were solid, right? I actually really like the crop that he used. Excuse me.
Same.
And when the color was the certain type of color and the greens weren't shifting all over the place, I thought it was really solid. And yeah, I mean, and like I mentioned before, like whatever that lens is that they're using on a lot of the parts, the bokeh on it is so pretty. And like,
it's really nice. I wonder if it's a Zeiss. I wonder if those are Zeiss lenses.
it looks like a
They look
Sony
really good.
lens to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
interested.
but it's so pretty. Like it, I would like, I don't know. I'm a big fan of like
Focal length.
as much bokeh as possible in wedding
Seems like a
films.
50. It might be that new Sony 50.
No, it's
I
too
haven't been able to
wide.
play with
It's
that
way
one
too
yet.
wide.
No way.
It's a 35.
There?
Yeah, that's a 35.
I don't know. I feel like a 35 would have a little bit more pop on the subject.
Maybe, I don't know. Regardless, there's a lot of nice stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Let's talk about what we think they could do better.
That's 50, like to me. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room. The song drives me nuts.
I hate that song.
Yeah, I don't think we have to talk about it much, but I think a lot of people would agree. And looking through the comment section, there were a lot of comments on it. So, the song isn't my favorite. And that's unfortunately for a music video style film to use a song that. Why don't we like it? It's overplayed. I've heard it a million times. It makes me think about 100 other wedding films that have already been made. Even like being a song that's a little bit older at this point.
It didn't even match the vibe though. Like there's like people taking like Henny shots and stuff, and then it's like over like this overly schmaltzy song. Now I don't want to make fun of it.
To that guitar part, the solo guitar, and it's just like the cringe gets cringier at that point. So, yeah.
No, I think this is Firefly, by the way. Now maybe the couple requested it, and we get that.
Maybe.
But
if we want to give the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I don't want to give the benefit of the doubt because they did submit it, and I'm saying clearly you don't have a problem with it, right? So I would say like I don't like that it doesn't give your film any personality or uniqueness. I agree with you there.
Yep.
Anything else?
So kind of diving into maybe some specifics. I'm not a big fan of the backlit dress. I think Kyle mentioned that in the comment section. I was gonna bring that up.
Well, you don't like the little chicken breasts up here?
Yeah, the chicken cutlets in the dress tends to be pretty ugly looking.
It sometimes it has to happen, by the way, but it is definitely not the best.
Yeah, I try to do more like a 45-degree light on the dress nowadays. So you're front lighting it, or like at least side lighting it. It just makes the dress look a lot better, and you're not just blowing out your background a little bit. Because even on a camera that has really good dynamic range, like your Sony A7S or your FX3 or whatever, it's still going to be blown out because you're just in a super dark environment. So I would also say too much getting ready. And maybe this can be a debate for wedding filmmakers. I don't know. I see way too much getting ready footage. People not in their dresses.
Well, I was showing you this shot, this shot right here. It's not even in focus, first of all. But second of all, these people are looking at their phones.
Yeah, and I would just say, just because it exists doesn't mean it deserves to be in a wedding film.
And they're in this child's room right here. Like, why are they?
Yeah, the boys. If we could pull them outside, I'm not sure what the weather's like, but if you can get them away from being inside without natural light, and even like shots of them in their t-shirts, it doesn't scream luxury ever. Like, go watch
Ray liked our chicken cutlets joke.
What is it?
Ray liked our chicken cutlets joke.
Oh yeah, that's what they are, man.
Yeah. You just take them out, fry them up.
Ray's here. I just mentioned Ray. So if you watch Ray's film, which hello Ray,
terrible. If Ray is bad, let's just say
garbage. Yeah. Watch Ray Roman. Ray. You won't find a single effing person in a t-shirt in a Ray Roman film.
Or sitting in the child's room.
Sitting in a child's room, you won't see them. Yeah, like. Kind of in that natural type of environment. Everyone's going to be wearing suits. Like, it's almost like a part of the brand is when you're elevating and shooting like a high-end wedding film, you want to show people at their best. So girls without their makeup on yet, like maybe I'll get like the bride in her robe, like the final shot of her lash, and it's going to be a very specific push-in shot. I'm going to have a plan for it. But that's really all I try to use. We just did a behind the scenes, and that's something people mentioned was like, hey, I didn't really feel like I saw a lot of the getting ready.
Because we don't like it.
That was pretty intentional. Yeah.
Yeah. Go watch any super high-end filmmaker. They don't have a bunch of people out of their It's just like, it's just not done. Now, there are like styles of filmmakers that I think are the more documentary style, home video style, but that's very intentional. They're elevating that by intentionally showing it. They're not shooting it like a luxury film, but people are just not in a luxury setting.
Yep. Another thing that stood out to me, and I know you mentioned the portrait session, which I thought looked really good. Like his color, like he had it dialed. And I like some of his ideas for the film, for posing people. It did feel pretty staged. So I know some people need a little bit of direction in that way, and some people's films are going to feel a little bit more narrative style. It's not my personal preference. I like it to feel a little bit more organic when couples are interacting, the way that they normally would interact. So kind of like if I'm working with a couple and the photographer has handed over the ability to have one-on-one with them, I'm wanting to feel more like them. I'm more doing like prompting, like telling them to do something that incorporates a lot of more natural motion, like, hey, hold hands and walk towards me. Don't look at the camera. Spin each other, do whatever that gets a natural reaction. These felt very staged, where it's like, hey, run your hand up her arm. I didn't really mind that one as much, although it does kind of feel a little bit like
I don't like people
commercial.
like holding kisses in unnatural ways like that.
Yeah. I like the handhold actually, where they,
nice.
It was kind of nice.
I would have put him in the actual center,
together.
but
parallax shot is really nice. The shot under there, which I'm kind of evolving my thought on the veil, under the veil kind of thing. It looks good for photos, but for video.
Anything else you think they could do better, Jared?
There was that one shot there. I was going to mention cropping out the photographers, man. Can't use the photographers in your writing film.
Well, and also they're in their own shot. That's a shooting thing. Like you should have coordinated that. You got that crossfire there. You shouldn't do that.
Yep. Which I know this case right here is he put himself with the bride in front of him to try to cut him out. So I feel like you're trying to make lemonade there out of your lemon.
But you could have just stood on the. I look at this and I see all I can look at is that sign.
Yeah, the wheelchair restroom sign.
Yeah, and it's like I would have. Why didn't they just shoot into that tree over there?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep. So little shootings, things like that. With the photographers though, you could crop that in. Potentially and get rid of the photographers out of there. So that's something that I would have probably done as well.
All right. So let me.
What about you, Jay?
I agree with you on the song. I agree with you. Too much post stuff. I think there's like this effort right here to be like, it's real, it's authentic. And then you're like, but none of your portraits look real or authentic. And this is just weird looking. But then I want to point something out that it's, first of all, I am not bagging on this bride at all, but I am sensitive to how brides are portrayed in films.
Right.
And this bruise right here, first thing I saw.
Yeah.
She's not going to want to see a big bruise on her leg in her wedding film.
Fair.
So watching for things like that when you're cutting films, like you're trying to make people look their very, very best in every single time you show them on screen. And especially, when you're portraying brides, right? Who this is everything to them this day. So, anyway, so that's that. I think, like you said, there's just entirely too much posing. The film's, in my opinion, this is at best a teaser in terms of content. I do not like the not inclusion of songs or of any audio for this.
Yeah.
And in my opinion is when you're doing the music videos, this is just my opinion. We know some couples, we have a product where it is more music video driven and we try to make only fast paced. I do know some couples want sentimental songs and all that stuff. If I'm doing a sentimental music video, I'm going to at least put some audio off camera, Jared. But it just was like, I felt like the filmmaker is a good shooter, but as a storyteller, they didn't have a strong sense of what they were trying to do. Like if I was to say to them, what's the story? Like the story to me is this couple got married and sometimes they're out of focus and they're pretty and the light was good and there's some cool shots, definitely. But so much of it just felt inauthentic. And I would say really, really if you got to work on finding a way. And there was also this mistake right here, Jared, right here. Watch. Oh, where is it?
Yeah.
It cuts to black and the audio shifts. I thought my thing
cut to black. I thought you were talking about the movement of the gimbal.
Well, that parallax is also not correct.
Yeah.
Because they're not keeping the subject centered. So
I didn't even see that on my side.
Yeah, it goes, and then the audio shifts. So there's like a little export glitch or something in the film.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
But and then the last thing I would say is kind of what you mentioned, this is the opposite angle. Being really intentional with where you place your camera and what you put on screen. Whether it be like I mentioned, the bruise on her leg, the little sign, just showing things that put people in the best light. throughout it would help you a lot. And this film honestly would be 20 times better with slightly more personal portrait work, more authentic portrait work, and a little bit of speeches. It would elevate the film. It would be way better. So I'm trying to find the person who said, I said I would just watch their film if on the fly. If you're in chat still, could you just remind me who you are? Sorry. Because I did want to. But it was good. Like, it's not a bad film. And I think this filmmaker, like, can charge a good price for this. I think they could easily tweak this stuff. And honestly, if you think we have bad advice and you think we're wrong, then just do your own thing and tell us to go pound stand. That's my opinion. Like that, this is the film that I would want to. I would fix it if I saw one of my guys edit this. I'd be like, why are we not including this? Why are we not doing that? Like, anyway,
I do think the conversation about the music video style is interesting. Like, because we started that to be like, hey, if it takes less time for us to do a music video style, we could charge less and kind of be in a lot of people's price range. And even with that product that starts at like $2,000, we're like, we have to include voiceover. It's just so important. It just gives your film like a glass ceiling of like, well, it could have been a lot better if you just included it. And so it's like, can you really even sell a music video style film nowadays? Like, I think it's becoming harder and
I would
harder
say
to do
we
that.
are finding that it's not a great way to go. If I was to advise someone, I would say at least including some story audio, unless you're doing a teaser.
Yep.
If
Chris
you're like,
even in the chat mentioned that he had to pivot as well. So a lot of people are pivoting back to just including, sound bites, even in the cheaper kind of stuff. I think it's just so necessary. So also written in film mentioned we should review a Ray Roman film. We actually had Ray on a couple weeks ago on live.
he was on the live. He was on our podcast 2 weeks ago. He's dropping bombs, so go check that out.
But I don't think we've done an actual Ray Roman film. We should do a Ray Roman film.
Yeah, I would be afraid. Ray was a military man. I'd be like, it's great, best person ever. He will show up in my house.
But if you want to hear Ray review other people's films, definitely go back and check that one out. It was awesome.
SJ came on. Hey, dude, we were just saying, good film. I'll give you the summarization. Solid film. A lot of really beautiful stuff, but then we give you a lot of critique on the storytelling and the editing and the song. So definitely go back and watch it. And if the person who I said, stay in here and I'll watch your film, if they are not here, I'm going to not watch your film. So review yourself immediately. But yeah, so we are.
We could review Axter Gaming's baptism film.
Okay, go ahead. Axter Gaming, post your baptism film. We'll review it right now. I'll do it.
I wouldn't even know how to review a baptism film, man. What is that? This is the first time I've ever even heard of it.
CJ. No, that wasn't the person. Oh, here, F Records Films. Okay. I'm not going to review the baptism film now because F Records Films did show themselves to me. F Records Films. I cannot. Written in film, Visionary Weddings. Hey, what's up, Visionary Weddings?
Just a little water splash on a baby.
That's too much water on that baby. That baby's definitely not sanctified.
Chris, I haven't seen Biden's film. I would assume that's an NDA. Yeah.
I think I saw it.
You saw it?
Yeah. But I know Lindsay. So,
yeah.
Every so often I see films. I'll say that.
You know people?
It was pretty bad. He stinks. So, if you look up to him, do not buy his overpriced lot, guys. Don't do it. No, I love Lindsay and Cherish. They're awesome. Can you just submit the film one more time, my friend? Because I am not seeing it. F Records Films. Click on the link. I know I told you I'd do it, but we have a lot of submissions, which is great. We had like so many submissions today, guys. So super appreciative.
Oh yeah, we did have a lot. Jeez.
Everybody who did that, and we will. And also John, thanks for the premier membership. We are definitely going to be reviewing your film next week. But yeah, Jared, while we're waiting for F Records to submit one more time, get at the top of the list, why don't we did an episode this week on the podcast, and we were talking about trends in wedding filmmaking. And I remember, like, we were talking about something that I think is relevant to film critiques, and which is people just weighing in on music way more than ever.
Yeah.
What was your experience with that, in customer service over last year, just dealing with people in music? Because I remember previously to last year, we would always talk about people always love everything we pick. This is so easy. And then last year, it was the first year ever that we were starting to actually have pushback on music, people wanting to weigh in. What was that like?
Yeah, I think it's the TikTok generation. It's people that actually have choices when they're posting their beach video, and they can choose music for their beach video, and they have full access to any song they want. They can use a Beyonce song or Harry Styles or whatever. And so they're not used to having restrictions. And so when they're like, hey, I really like this type of song, they're not thinking like a filmmaker. They're thinking like a person who's posting a TikTok. But then also they have full access. We're talking to the Music Bed about that. We're like, hey, you guys notice that? What's the deal with that? And they were like, it's just people just don't understand, what goes into it. They don't understand that Instagram, TikTok, they have a license through with all of these, huge conglomerates and corporations that they can use whatever song. So we had a lot of pushback last year. Or I wouldn't even say a lot, but a lot more than normal, I would say. Maybe once a year in shooting 250 films a year, we would have one person be like, the song wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
Nowadays, probably bumped up to 10 people last year that were like, hey, we're thinking this for the song. One of those people actually picked the music for their film, and they're like, I didn't
that
like
was
it
funny.
at the end of the day. And I was like, oh, dude, you picked the music. You're going to make us go back and start from square one. So I'd say,
wait, no, it's did they go, oh, actually, it's fine.
Yeah, and then once I pointed out that they actually picked the music, they were like, oh, yeah, it's fine then. We're like, okay. But it just comes down to having to protect yourself at the end of the day from people, whether it's in your contract and you're discussing it beforehand, hey, we picked the music, you don't have any choice, deal with it. Or if it's hey, you can actually go in and choose the music. Just have a game plan for the music for the film, because the last thing you want to do at the end of the day is deliver a film that you stand behind, that you're really proud of, and then they're like, yeah, it's great, but the music isn't my favorite. Can you go in and change it? And then you're starting from square one. The music is the spine of your film. You can't just go in and swap in another song. You cut to the music. So finding ways to solve that problem has been a challenge. I would say nowadays I talk to people probably 4 times, and whether it be through verbal form or written form, about music specifically before we actually choose a song. We say, hey, you can be as involved as you want to be. If you want to be very involved, you can actually go in and choose your music. If we choose the music and you don't like it, it costs money to change it. So we're very clear on that up front. So if that scares people, they'll go in and pick the music themselves.
I think that's a good, you need to have a policy. Yeah. And I think this is the thing. Exactly. A lot of filmmakers, they really struggle. Excuse me. A lot of filmmakers don't have clarity on things that they don't anticipate what people are going to ask for, or what they're going to be upset about, or what they would even want. And then they don't make clarity up front, and then people come to them and either they bend in ways that are not acceptable or hurt them, or they are inflexible in ways that are ridiculous. They should just be flexible. And we very, 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 very try so much to actually create the expectations. We do. We also ask, by the way, for, hey, here's our song licensing area. You can go look at songs. We have the conversation in the consultation. This music is something we talk about at least twice with every couple, but often 3 times. So by the time they get the song, they have said, I trust you. They literally will say, I trust you. You pick the music. Right?
Yeah.
Or if they don't like it, they knew that they could have done it.
Yeah. But at the same time, I've even had people that are like, we trust you. We love your work. We like everything. And we're like, okay, we pick a song that we're like, I like this song. I think it fits really well and everything. I stand behind it. You know, God, I've only done this over 1,000 times. Like we're pretty good at it. And then they'll come back and be like, you know, the song wasn't our favorite. So it's just like, you have to be prepared and have a policy in place.
I will say this, for high-end work, I would not let clients weigh in on music.
Right.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like,
and I would say that the problem a lot of times probably comes with like pop music, indie music. If you're
or they
using
just don't know how to
strings
edit.
and
Like this
pianos
song
for a
right here,
wedding
Jared.
film, and that's your style, then it's like no one's gonna complain about pianos and strings. Like
This song right
just
here, even when I was saying with Brandon's song, like it's a fine song what Brandon picked, the first film we reviewed, but I don't think it cut that well. And there's something to a song that cuts well. And the third, like when we were reviewing the third film, the reason why that film was successful is the song was made for video. It cut super well. It had the right inflection points. And you listen to this song is flat. It's a flat song. You know, it doesn't have any movement, the speechless song. And I think we have a particular thing we are looking for. And this is, I think, the most underappreciated aspect of wedding filmmaking and what makes an artist special is like your relationship with what you do visually and how you work with music is one of the most unique parts about your filmmaking. And you don't want any ambiguity about how that's going to work with the couple. And you also don't want to have to step outside of that. You want to be able to make films that have the music that you want that match your vibe. And, you know, ideally a strong brand will just help you get through that. But I do think, all that to say, I think all of us are going to have to figure this out soon, because unless you're really clear with the couple about what it is, like they don't understand this. You need to understand they are now editing video. And they are now adding music to video. And by the way, I don't see your submission still, so we're not going to review the film because I don't see it. But you can submit next week, and I would actually encourage you to become a member, and that will actually guarantee it. So I did want to make that.
Yeah, JSB Cinema asked, he said that he subscribed. You actually, JSB, you want to go in under the chat where the $sign is. And there's a membership right there. And that's what gets you to the top. It's not just subscriptions. It's
and I'll update your record too if you want to join. But it means a lot to us. You know, honestly, it means so much to us. People that support our channel. This is a lot of work. We have a ton of videos coming out. We're actually doing a studio tour, Jared, which a really fun video coming out next week. We got some more product reviews coming out, some and just different stuff. And of course, we have our weekly live stream. And so it's a labor of love. And anything you do to support the channel, guys, means so much to us. We know there's a lot of great wedding filmmaking educators out there, and all of them are asking for money. And so it means a lot if you can click that like button, let people know it's this is content you like, and like check out the other stuff we've been doing, man. It means so much Felipe did it. Let's see. There it is. Yay. Thank you so much, my friend. All right. So we're going to end this one with a quick film review. I'm already liking this little title card right here. I wish Ray was with us. Ray, you want me to send you a Zoom link? You want to hop on? Ray has a standing invitation because, you know, he's a legend and we appreciate Ray. So, where is this? I'm speechless. Something, my dress. Here we go. So, Jared, here's this film. Why don't you give some details about the filmmaker, and then we'll go.
Okay. So we have Felipe with F Records Films. He's submitted before, right, Jay?
I don't know. He did, and then I can't find it. So apparently they won something in 2019. Are those real things that you actually won, or are those just things you put up there?
Let's see. So in terms of gear that was used, Sony A7 III with Ninja 5, ProRes RAW, FX3 and A7 III. This is specifically to go with our Sony theme today. Seems like everyone used a combination of those two cameras. 5-minute trailer and full-length 20-minute film. We're going to be watching the 5-minute film now.
Here we go. Indianapolis, the most boring city in the world. There's no restaurants open past 10 in that circle. The heaviest.
Dear Danielle,
it's nice and punchy.
You are
man.
my
Looks
best
good.
friend.
No, I like
my
it.
Lover, my co-pilot. I am so honored that I get to experience today and the rest of my life with you. As I stand before God, our families and our friends, I make this promise to you. I promise to love you with every breath that I have until my last breath. I promise to protect your heart and walk with you with kindness.
I promise to cherish you, be faithful to you, and to love you
That's an
for the rest
interesting idea.
of my life.
Oh, I saw this shot before.
FPV.
Somebody's going to have to convince me that FPV drones are good at weddings.
I started writing this journal in my early 20s, praying for my future husband. This is the journal that has always been destined for you.
Whoa. You're living on the edge there.
And every
Swaying that dress.
was worth it to find you. I asked God to give me insight on what my future husband would want in a wife. I prayed for you before I ever met you. I vowed to grow in patience and become a better version of myself as each day goes by. I vow to stay humble and serve you with all my heart. I vow to stay silly with you, laugh at the jokes only we understand, and continue to make new ones.
You're a good shooter,
I vow
dude.
to stay by your side through better or worse in any adversity we may face. I vow to love our children and build a home for us that is safe, protected, and filled with unconditional love. I vow to treat you like the king you are and honor you for all of my days as Mrs. Abali. There are many blank pages in this book, and I'm ready to fill out the rest of them with you. I love you.
And I wouldn't miss it for the
This is not easy, but it's
Brad
simple.
filter.
Every choice, action, decision must be considered. What will make your wife happy, what she needs, and what she wants, and what would be best for her. This means that when you have the choice between what you want to do and she wants to do, you give yourself up to her and choose what she wants to. You will always be making the right decision when you put your wife before yourself.
Wolf shot two of that. Oh, wow. That was awesome.
Yeah, that looks sick.
Thank you for Danielle. Thank you for Uchenna. And Lord, we just ask special blessings for this food. Thank you for it. May it nourish and refresh us. Keep us safe tonight and everybody get home safely, Father God. And we'll give you all the praise and honor and glory. And we ask all these things in the name of your Son, Jesus. And all God's people said, amen.
I mean, that guy, I like that guy. I wonder if that's your dad.
Is this Imagine Dragons?
They just really did not want to kiss there. They were just like, it's like it looked like two magnets were in their mouths, like pushing each other away. Yes, I was hoping they would have this. The dry ice. I think it's like discount Bon Iver, Jared.
Oh, wow.
Ladies and gentlemen,
How's that girl in a
family
t-shirt?
and friends, it's my happy
Yeah.
privilege to present to you for the first time Mr. and Mrs. Uchenna and Danielle.
What is it? What is that?
Bully.
A cereal box?
No, it looked like a program.
No, it's like a
I don't know.
box. That's definitely a box. Let's see if we can see what it is. All right. So let's make this quick. So stuff we liked about the film. Me personally, first of all, I like the intro. The first like 10 seconds
drone
was sick.
stuff, yeah.
There's a lot
The
of,
intro.
especially of the bride, excellent portrait work.
Mm.
Really solid color, like, and even the portrait work of them. And I like the little. I don't
that
know if
looks
that's
so good, dude.
the grain.
That's
or,
a website shot. That's what needs to go on your website. Take a
yeah,
screenshot
there's
of that, man.
and there's
That's
just a
saleable.
there's a lot of technique in the film. Maybe a little too much, which we'll talk about. But there are a lot of tricks, and you could just tell this is a good film, a good cinematographer, good shooter. But I would say, and we'll talk about this. Let's just do what they can improve on too. The same thing. I think as a wedding cinematographer, this is like the edit didn't really make sense with the environment. Like it was
Yes.
like this was like the most homey of homey weddings ever. Like, and you have like 7 FPV shots flying through just a basic old, little gondola or I don't know, credenza, whatever you call that thing. Flying through it, and it just like was like, I'm sure the couple wanted it and stuff, but to me it came across as a little tacky. It didn't feel in place at all, and then it just was distracting. To be honest, this film was very distracting to me. Like all these good moments, I would be like, oh, this is cool, this is really amazing, this is really beautiful, and then he'd be like, God, thank you for the food, and I'm like, what? Why are we including this guy praying for the food? Like, and I know what he's gonna say. He's like, oh, that was his dad, or that was someone like that. But it's like, if you got to tell a consistent story, like when you're making a film like this, and it was like super epic music and some really epic shots, but then like, I think you should match the environment of the day. And then I like the idea of going into their vows a whole lot. That was a cool idea. Like having them read their vows and then go into the real vows. Really, that's why I'm saying like this is a good cinematographer. They have some chops. They just need to edit themselves a little bit. But then when it goes to this totally different sounding audio, it was distracting. Again, like all these moments of distraction, you're noticing things like that girl in a t-shirt.
Yes.
Like maybe that's her best friend or something like that. I don't know. To me, I just found it distracting. Like, and I just felt like there was too many tricks for a very basic wedding that it didn't feel like it matched.
Yes. That's huge. Like leaning in with all those shots of like downtown. You think that you're going to be in like a downtown ballroom, and then you're in the middle of, a pavilion with the gazebo thing. And like, it is like, okay, where are we going? Like, and there can be some of that, like multiple locations, but like finding ways to tie them in or just not use them.
Yeah. To be honest, why, like, was this actually Indianapolis where they actually got married, or did you just want to make it look like it? Because all I could see is that they had some cool B-roll of
The
Indianapolis.
beginning looks like freaking Transformers, and the music you have going, it's like, okay, we're going to be into this super epic, like, high-end wedding venue. Like, that's what I would think.
Yeah, this is
And
where
then
the
it kinda
venue
just-
was. How do you feel about this right here, Jared?
I mean, those cars look like there's a lot of workers working at the venue.
I want to go
today.
like this. Scoot over. Just only show the trees.
Get all that color in there.
Only
Yeah.
show the trees.
Yeah.
And one thing I
Yeah.
forgot to mention, Jared, was this dress shot. First of all, I would not be comfortable with the dress swaying like that.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
But also, if you're gonna get close, you got to get a different hanger. You can't have a plastic hanger.
Can't see. Oh yeah, the plastic hanger is brutal.
Yeah.
A lot of brides too. I'll call this a hangman shot. Like I've had brides specifically ask not do this shot, especially in an outdoor location where it's unnatural for a dress to be, like hanging it in a tree or off a pavilion or, you know, off the side of a barn or something. Like, I don't know. It's not really my cup of tea anymore, and it's scary being outside. You can get the dress dirty, the hanger. Like, there's a lot of things to it. Even though, you know, camera and lens on a shot like that, it looks pretty good.
I think it's a really good shooter, man. I want,
yeah, really good shooter.
Really good shooter.
Camera lens combination.
Come and work for us.
Yep.
You know,
I love the way they portrayed the bride and a lot of, you know, the people that were there. The group shots outside.
she's
were
gonna
awesome.
love how she looks in your film.
Yep. That part right there was a little confusing where you broke the 180-degree line, but that's just me being like a you know, camera nerd and film nerd. Like, putting the bride looking out the window one side and then flipping to the other side. It's like, whoa, okay. Like, you really want them looking one way. I would also say, I wish that I didn't see the bride reading her letter. I don't know. I like hearing it, but I don't always like seeing
Or her rubbing her
long
nose like
shots of
that.
them.
She wouldn't like that.
Right. The end is nice where she's like fanning herself. Like, that's nice. I might cut to that at the very end so I can see where she was reading it, but I wouldn't want to see a lot of her reading it. That's probably like a personal preference.
It's definitely personal preference. I think a lot of
person
people,
know. Look at that grad filter, Jay. You see the
or maybe they put it in post.
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
a lot to retain in the highlights, but maybe it is that just bluebird of a sky. But,
I don't like a grad filter. If you're gonna do a grad filter, you better
too
put
much. I would say it's probably a little too much.
No, it shouldn't move though. It should be on a tripod. Like, you shouldn't be like panning around with a graduated filter or tilting like that.
Yeah, so it's not as noticeable. But yeah, I loved the groom's voice at the very beginning. I
Yep,
think was
really
a
good.
really good move. He delivered really well. He has a very interesting, you know, voice, a great accent. Like, you know, you leaned into that really well. I almost wish that they interacted with each other a little bit more as opposed to just being like,
It's such a weird look that girl gave her.
Part.
Right here. Why is
Yeah.
that? That should not be in slow motion. That's what it is for me. Anyway.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. But yeah, and then can we talk about the FPV?
Oh, I hate FPV.
I just haven't seen it used really well. I think it got really, like you said, it was very distracting.
It better be flying through Monument Valley in freaking New Mexico. Like, I don't want to see.
But also, it has to match the pace. Like, very rarely will you have a wedding film that has that level of energy. Like, FPV, you want to see it at like a friggin' Baja 500 race.
No, that's
like,
what I say.
super
I don't like
fast,
FPV. I love FPV. I want one. It would be so fun. Like, I
right.
don't understand it at 98% of weddings. I just think it almost never matches the energy. I don't really like it.
Yep. I agree. It doesn't match the energy. It doesn't match the song, and it can just, at the end of the day, like you said, distracting. So it just starts feeling a little bit like a gimmick.
It's a gimmick.
Like, I got a cool piece of gear, and I want to use it. It doesn't necessarily contribute to the story.
Now, given there's probably maybe a couple that requests it or thinks it's really cool or whatever. Oh, and this is the big thing right here. This shot being out of focus.
Out of focus. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily the dad with the hat. I think that was one of the comments was asking you about, was it the dad with the hat? But
no, it's the
no.
flowers in the back.
Yeah.
So
focus.
So hey, listen, we're bagging on this, but only because we think you're a good filmmaker, and if you can like edit yourself a little bit and elevate your taste a little bit so that you can spot things that don't match, I think it's going to give you into a different price bracket. I think if you brought this to a wedding planner, she would be like, my couples wouldn't like this, right? And if you just kind of edited yourself and refined it a little bit and was more intentional, I think you're a good enough shooter and a good enough editor, and you can definitely keep going up the ladder. And I think I don't want you to be at all discouraged, because I think a lot of people will never shoot as well as you in their entire life, and that's pretty cool. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking out the show today, and hopefully you had fun. I'm going to turn up the music a little because it's the outro, and I decided that's what I'm going to do from now on, Jared, is turn up the music during the outro. And anyway, if you had fun and you enjoyed that live stream, go ahead and hit like if you're watching this later. We have a lot of other content, and of course I would mention our Wedding Film School show, which has been amazing. It's kind of grown a little, so go check that out. Grateful for all our subs over there. If you haven't subscribed to the Wedding Film School show, then go ahead and do that as well. And stay tuned for more content for wedding filmmakers. We like to say the best wedding filmmaking content on the internet, which, feel free to disagree with. But we're happy to provide it, guys, here on Wedding Film School.